Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Railworld. In the last episode we were working on a line towards a new copper deposit because we have some crippling copper problems that need to be fixed. At the moment science is running alright, but blue science is running down soon. Running down slowly and will soon be a problem and things like that. So we need to get this done pretty quickly because we want the science to just keep on going, because at the moment we have all the supplies we need of other stuff like alien artifacts. So I start making my way over to where I was building the line. Then I remember that I have this special power suit for when I'm doing things like this. So I've donned that and off I go at breakneck speeds, and I can actually see where I'm going. So we'll go back over to the deposit here, and there's a couple of trees need clearing around the edge. Annoyingly, the poison capsule sort of radius is not quite enough to cover everything I wanted here, but whatever. So we can start putting in some mining drills, and we're going to sort of work backwards on this. We're going to put in the drills, and then we're going to put in the station, and then we're going to work out how to connect that up to the rest of the network, and we'll do it that way around. So first of all we do that, and then we need to put the rail bits in, and I decide to sort of have it loaded towards the left, not yes, the left, that is the left. I got it right. Usually I get those mixed up. Yeah, so we set up the loading towards the left of the deposit because there's a bit more space around that area, so it seems like a better idea. We set up the station, Copper Outpost 1, seeing as it is the first major copper outpost that actually has a station. So we might as well call it number 1, because the other one, it's practically run out anyway and it just gets delivered by belt. So we start extending these down a little bit more now that we have a better idea of where things will connect up and such. Then I go back over here again because we need to sort out the horizontal line as well. So we get the sort of connected to the main line, and then we build the main line. Need to craft a couple more what do you call them? Rail parts, rail things, rails. Just call them rails. Craft more rail, whatever. And then we do the other side as well. And there's a couple of things to clear out the way. I get a bit frustrated and just start using the shotgun on everything again, because it is much better at clearing out trees and such. And then we need to extend the other side of this down as well, once again using the shotgun. Night starts to fall, but that's not a problem when I have my night vision goggles. And once we get this down to the same place as the other one, we can start working on the loop. Thing is, there's a big circle that needs clearing here, but conveniently we have a device that is designed for that, and it is of course the poison capsule. Annoyingly, the circle it clears is not quite enough to fit the loop in, so I do have to clear a couple of trees out around the edge, but that's not too difficult really. And once all those are cleared, I can put in the loop, and we have this junction ready. It's not really a junction at the moment, it's just a corner, because there's only one direction it goes in. But it's just for the purposes of future expansion and things like that, in case I want a rail system going down towards the south. So we get all those little bits of straight rail in there, and the corners too. Well, I suppose not corners because it's a circle, but you know what I mean. And then we can connect up the final bit of rail there. So we now have everything sort of connected. We just need to sort out a loop on the end of here, and then we have a complete new section of the track for this new train to use to get to and from this outpost. So we just have to clear a couple of trees again to get this in place. It's not quite worth a poison capsule this time, though. I don't actually know what it takes to make one. I keep forgetting to check. I think it uses coal and stuff like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, we get all the little bits and bobs in there. And then I set up the train's schedule. So I put in the stations, then I have to wait a bit for it to set off. I'll just check on my inventory and stuff while doing that. And then it says no path, and I'm very confused because the only reason I can think of to explain that is that there is a break in the track. So I'm running along and trying to find like an accidental gap that I've left where there was a tree in the way or something, and I don't spot one. So I start making my way back again, doing a double check just to be absolutely sure, because I'm really not sure why there's a problem here. And then when I get back down to the loop, I realise I missed one of the little bits. So of course the train immediately sets off, but I managed to grab it as it passes, which looked really cool. And then we can go and see how the unloading goes. At the moment there's nothing being unloaded, of course, but we need to just sort of set up the schedule and the stuff, and I don't know. But anyway, we've done that, so there we go with a bit of science. We're nearly finished with all of the little bits of science, except for the robot, what do you call them, combat robots limits, which usually take an extremely long amount of time. So anyway, we're back over at the outpost, and we can start setting up the unloading. The unloading system's at the other end. This is the loading system, and we can get all these belts connected up and so on and so forth. Put some efficiency modules and everything. But now of course we need power, so I just plonked down a substation there for future use, but at the moment we don't have the power system being extended down here, so I have to go back up to the main part of the line and start extending down from it. So it's going to be a bit tedious because there's a bunch of trees to clear out each time I place one of these, which is annoying. And I also have to be careful not to stand on the side of the rail that the train's going to be going down in a minute, so I have to occasionally swap over once the train goes past. Just putting all these down, there goes the train, and managing to sort of... It's just a really fiddly thing, this, actually. Because if it's a clear area, then you can just click and drag, but when there's trees in the way, it doesn't work, because you have to actually get the trees out of the way to actually place the thing, of course. But anyway, we managed to get down to the outpost, and I'd stick down the last little bits and bobs. And then we can get a substation there, getting nearly the whole system going. There's just one at the end that isn't quite there. But before I get that powered, I'm going to sort out some more mining drills, because one row isn't going to be enough, considering how much production we've lost recently. So what I go for is having 2 rows at least, and then seeing how that goes. So we put these in. I want to say a row, I mean both sides of a conveyor belt, because you could interpret that as 2 rows, but whatever. If you only have it on one side, then it makes all sorts of problems with balancing the belts occur, because you have a bunch of stuff arriving on one side of a belt and not another. But anyway, we're just sort of working out the spacing there to get them going at roughly the same speed. And then we can start putting in the power generation. Well, not generation, the supply. So that's more substations. Just plonk a couple of those down around the place. And then we need to actually connect this one up with some normal, normal power poles, because they don't quite reach. And then we have to connect that one mining drill up as well. So there we go, we've got 2 rows going, and then I grab a couple of... I'm forgetting the names of everything today. Turrets. What's wrong with me? I get some turrets, and start putting them down, and they will help with the defense of the outpost, because of course, like the iron outpost, this generates pollution. There's biters nearby, they might come along, decide to settle or attack or whatever. We need some defense, and it's a long way away from me generally, so I have to make sure that it can defend itself for a decent amount of time. So anyway, we get that in place, and you can see that the copper is building up now, which is good, because it means there's as much going in as there can be. And then I check the loading of the train. You can see that it fills up almost, but not quite completely, which is pretty much perfect. So we set off back home, and I just do a bit of tweaking of the times. And here we are at the station, park up, and we start unloading nice and quick. And the thing is, as you can see, there's a bit of queuing going on at this outpost right now, well, at this station right now. And what we need to do is set up the second copper station, because there was always supposed to be 2. I was just only using 1 because I only needed 1. So what we'll do is we'll have copper 1 as the unloading for large deposits, and copper 2 being for small deposits. At the moment there being 2 small deposits and 1 large one, so that should work out fairly well. So I'm just having to put in all the bits to get that set up. Some underground belts and such like, and then we can get this connected up to the system, and that should hopefully be a big help for the copper production, because it means that we could have 2 trains unloading at the same time, which would be a huge boost really to the copper supply. So I've just run over and check on the copper smelters, and I can see that actually this belt over here is built up for the old outpost, which is a bit of a surprise. So I give that a bit more priority so that it can sort of run down quicker, because I don't want this building up, because I would like it to be cleared away and done with if possible, just because it makes things easier to deal with later on. So anyway, I leave that like that, have a check of how quickly things are loading, and you can see stuff is now building up on one side of one of the belts, which is good. So you can see that it's built up there, which means more is going on to the other one, and that's always a good thing. So anyway, there's this train here that goes to Mini Copper 2, and what I do is I hop on board and take it over to the outpost. Well, I don't, it takes me really. And then once we're parked up, I do a bit of tweaking on the schedule. I switch it so that it goes to Copper 2 instead, and that means it shouldn't get in the way of the newer, more important train that has the when it delivers is full, which is better. So then we wait for the other train, the one that goes to Mini Copper 1. We hop on board that. We take that over to the outpost as well, and this one is running out very rapidly now. There's only 3 mining drills still running. What I do with this one is I actually go for a different system. I have it wait in Mini Copper 1 for 200 seconds, so over 3 minutes. And because of that, we won't have to have this buffer system anymore with the loading. We can just have the one inserter loading it, and then I have it so that it only stays in Copper 2 for 10 seconds. Though after doing a quick bit of mental maths in my head, I decided to up that to 20 seconds, because what that basically means is that it will not be sort of unnecessarily sat around in like copper 2 all the time when it barely has any copper loaded onto it, so it'll only turn up once it actually has a decent amount loaded. So anyway, back over to copper, you can see that everything is filled up right now, which is excellent, so that's a good sign. But then just as I'm checking these mining drills here, I find that the power system is suffering a bit. You can see that the accumulators have shut off just before it's got sort of fully light, and the solar panels have taken over the task of making the power. So I go back to the main base, have a quick check of stuff as well, see how the supplies of copper and therefore circuits are going. Still not brilliant, but that is because it's being hoovered up by processing units to make more level 3 modules that I asked it to do a while back. So anyway, I've got a ton of wood in my inventory, so I just clear some of that away, but we managed to fill up that chest, so I decided to make a new chest nearer to the main base, so I don't have to run away to that random area over there to actually get some stuff. But anyway, we've acquired some accumulators and a substation, so we make our way over to the power storage zone, or whatever you want to call it, and we put in another square of accumulators, nice and neat and squarey. And once we do that one more time, we'll have a nice 3x3 grid of that again, which will be pretty looking. So anyway, that should fix the power problems for now, I expect. Maybe we need to add in some new solar panels as well to balance that, but I'm not really sure. I'm going to wait a while and see if that develops or not. So let's go back to smelting and see how that's going. Actually, no, let's go over to the oil outpost. I hop on board the train and just check that the levels of plastic and sulfur are fine. They're all being produced at a perfectly good rate after I run around and do a quick check of that. But then I find that the various oil fractions are not so good. The petroleum gas is nearly completely run out, so that's a bit of a problem. What we need to do is add in a bunch more pump jacks somewhere, but unfortunately all of the oil deposits nearby to oil production are already being used, so what we need to do is set one up elsewhere, and at the moment I've got my eye on the deposits right next to the smelting area. So for that I'm going to need pump jacks, and quite honestly I cannot be bothered to build all of those in my inventory. And also people have been commenting recently about me crafting too many things in my inventory rather than having machines to do it, and fair enough I suppose. But anyway, I'm going to sort of fix that a little bit by setting up some automatic pump jack production instead of going through the irritating process of building each one individually, which takes a million years, even if you have all of the equipment ready. So what we need is a few different little things from the production line. So I'm having to sort of work out how to get these all maneuvered past each other. We need circuits, steel, gears, and we also need pipes, and so therefore we need some iron. So I start getting the underground belts going along. I'm going to have them on the top side of the belt, seeing as there's of the main trunk, I suppose it is. Seeing as there's not that much stuff on it at the moment, after I put up the module production, I did everything else on the bottom side. I suppose that's because they were all connected, because they were the ammo systems and the drone systems. But anyway, we get the pipe production set up so we can add that into the mix. Now all we need to do is actually combine all of these different supplies together, because they are all over the place right now. I managed to mess up rotating a belt there and ended up harvesting a ton of circuits and steel. So we get the two belts going, and then we can set up the assemblers, set up the inserters, and we can get it making us some pump jacks. So there we go, power, and tell it what to do, and there it goes. We've got some efficiency modules in and everything, and I don't set up a chest for this because I don't want to have 50 pump jacks or whatever the stack size is. And I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can make it that you can limit how many is produced using the red and green wires and stuff, but my knowledge and experience of Factorio has not yet reached those levels. I've played for hundreds of hours, but I've still not got round to tackling that particular system. So anyway, while the pump jacks are being produced, I just do a bit of maintenance in and around the base, resupply on modules, check up on the destroyer drone production, and I realised that actually the stack size I had was wrong. I thought that the stack size was 50, but it's actually 100, so I now have 100 of those in my inventory. And I also start crafting a bunch of pipes, because of course we're going to need that to get the oil back from the pump jacks to the oil system. And I also start setting up some more production of level 3 modules, even though the previous production hasn't finished yet, thanks to the copper problems. So basically I'm doing that so that when the time comes we can build rocket defense super easy, instead of having a good episode's worth of just trying to overclock the module system to make all the materials like I did in the previous series. And then also I've got all the pump jacks I wanted now. Well, not quite actually. I got to 9 of them when I could have when there's I think 14 oil deposits, but I decided to just take what I had. But then I got distracted and put a bunch of blue belts in on the iron line there, because why not? It'll help keep things going at a good speed. And then while I'm going over to the oil deposit, I find that copper is just shut down on this particular column, and then suddenly a bunch of copper ore flows in and switches it back on again. So that's a bit of a worry, and it looks like we need some more copper ore being delivered to prevent that sort of thing happening again. So anyway, I've just put this underground belt in here because it was on top of an oil deposit, and there's a couple of bits of stuff to sort of clear away and I don't know, improve over there. And then we start putting the pump jacks down onto the spots. So we have 9 of them, so I just like put them on the nearest 9, and then we can start making a bit of a pipe network to get these all connected together. At the moment, half of them aren't powered, but that will also be sorted soon. I have to put a couple of underground belts in places to sort of get everything to connect up nicely. And once we have an underground belt just here, there we go. They're all connected to the same pipe system now. So we'll sort out the power. We get a couple of substations. Put one down there, and then we'll just power this one over here with a power pole because it's not worth another substation for that. Put efficiency modules and everything, and then we can start taking the oil over to the deposit, the outpost. So my hope was to get it going across the water, but unfortunately the pipes don't reach quite far enough. So I just go down to this bit here. I still managed to go across the water a bit. I just find it fun to do that. But anyway, we've got a couple of corners to do here, which of course requires me to craft some normal belts, which is annoying because I'm trying to craft the underground belts. And whenever you try and craft underground belts, it gets rid of all of the normal... why am I talking about belts? The underground pipes, it crafts all the normal pipes into them, which is annoying, and I sort of wish there was a way to fix that, because... you know, you stock up on like 5 because you know there's going to be 5 corners, but then you need to make another underground pipe, and all the corners are gone. You have to craft them again. It's irritating. But anyway, we get that oil supply connected up to the system. So now we have the oil building up, and we have all of the refineries running once again, which should quickly fix all of the problems with the oil fractions. And I said just before I go back, I'm going to stick a bunch of lights around the place because you can't see what's going on, and that's boring. So there we go. Just putting them wherever there's a bit of power and not enough light. There's sunrises while I'm doing that, so that ruins it a bit. But anyway, with that done, we make our way home because we're now happy in the knowledge that oil is running okay again. Though I'll need to check up on it later on just to make sure that the sort of balancing of the different fractions is still okay now that production has increased again. So anyway, we're back up to the smelting area. And I just stick a splitter in there because I realise that can help with evening out a bit more, having one just before the 2 belts separate there. And then check up on everything else over here. There's a bunch of stuff that the bots want to resupply with, and conveniently now they're fast enough that while I'm running along they can actually catch up with me and deliver stuff to me anyway, which means there's a lot less needing to stand around and let them deliver. But anyway, I've decided to do some tweaking on here because as I said before, it looks like the copper supply is not good enough yet. So I'm going to add on another cargo wagon, well I already have, to the new copper train. And of course when I do that it stops, so I have to tell it to go again, and then I sit in it and go over to the copper outpost so that I can do the same thing on this side, have the loading system here. So we'll put in a new substation, and there we go. We've got double the loading speed, but of course now we need to increase the supply so that we actually make some use of that. So it's time to put in a new column of mining drills, and we're actually going through this outpost very fast in terms of how many mining drills we're putting down. There's only 1 or 2 columns we can put in now, I think. Actually, maybe a bit more, but it sort of the deposit tapers off a bit towards that end. So it might be that it's not long before we have to get yet another copper deposit to deliver from, because this one might already be running at full pelt. So we get that combined into the belt with the splitter, and then we put some efficiency modules into everything, and then we can start powering it. Conveniently, the fast inserters can actually take the ore off the splitter that's there, which is convenient because otherwise it would be in the way and we'd have reduced loading on that particular cargo wagon. But anyway, the train has arrived and I watch as it loads, and it doesn't load both of the carriages fully anymore, but it loads more than it previously did, so that's an obvious improvement there. So it parks up at the at the main station and unload. So that looks good, and we'll see how that pans out in the next episode, but it is time to go back to the centre and end it. So I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.